let's just start. Bethany, can you tell me why we are sat here today?
We are sat here today because I will be leaving Tottenham Hotspur Football Club after 3.5 amazing years.
How difficult is it to say that out loud?
Yeah, it's very tough, very, very tough.
Should we go back to the very beginning? You had such a significant change in your life coming here. I'm sure it felt like a massive move at the time. Can you try and sum up what you felt and thought when you were arriving to Spurs on that first day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I was just scared. I've always been someone that's quite set in my ways, and I've always struggled with change. And albeit the first 6 months to the outside seemed amazing, and that I was flying and I was scoring, there was a lot of inside thoughts that was struggling with a lot of change. Obviously we changed managers midway through, there was so much that went on, but if anything I would say the biggest thing I would say is I was proud that I took the leap of faith, and that the club, as I said, trusted me and put their belief in me and helped me find my love again for football.
So where were you psychologically when you did join?
I'll never forget my signing day. I almost didn't want to be here, but the minute I walked into that auditorium and the amount of love that surrounded me made it hard to not want to be there. I probably looked like a really miserable person on the day, but I think it was just trying to adjust to the change, and I am someone that wears my heart on my sleeve, so to anyone in the room that day I apologise if I didn't look very happy, but I would say it was one of the best things I've ever done.
So when do you start to feel like you might have found your new family?
I would say what solidified it for me was Leicester at home, our 1-0 win, and that was enough to keep us up. And the amount of, as I said in my letter, the love, the warmth, the hope that it gave everyone let me feel like I was finally home again. I always say pressure's a privilege, and I think I was scared when I first came that I wouldn't be the striker that you needed, or I wasn't going to be able to score the goals that was expected. Thankfully I did that, and yeah, I think, as I said, it wasn't just knowing that you guys needed me, but I definitely needed this place and the people around me and the club, and yeah, very, very grateful and appreciative that I got the opportunity to play for this football club.
You know, you said you were a little bit afraid of change. Was there a point when you started to realise that this was your new normal, this wasn't change anymore, this was the place where you wanted to be?
Yeah, I would say it was when I came back for like my first full season, going into pre-season. Obviously off the back of the World Cup, had many conversations, new manager, then there was the captaincy talk, and there was a lot going on, but yeah, I think all of that made me realise how much trust was put in me and how much love was there, and that the club really believed in me and wanted me to be a part of this team going forward.
What did it mean to be made captain?
Oh God, I don't know how many people know this, but yeah, I actually said no to it twice before I got given it, because I never saw myself as a leader. I was always the little fish in a big pond elsewhere, and that's how I just have kind of gone through life a bit. And I would say, had it not been for the people around me having so much trust and belief in me that I clearly struggled to have within myself, I probably never would have taken it. But God, I'm glad I did, because I've learned so much about myself, not just as a leader, but as a person. I think I've learned that I'm not scared to stand up to people anymore. I think I'm very much an outspoken person, but I'm more than happy to be the voice for everyone. Fairness is one of my biggest values, and I'd like to say that I very much instilled that in the way that I led.
None of us have any idea what's going on in other people's heads, but I just would never ever have thought that you wouldn't have thought of yourself as someone that would lead a group, to me, would just seem like the most natural thing in the world for someone like you.
I'm actually a massive overthinker. I really get in my head. I used to care too much about what people thought of me, but I think I've kind of grown out of that now. And yeah, I think there's always that self-doubt somewhere. And as I say, I think had it not been for the support around me, I wouldn't have realised what I would have been able to achieve. And it's brought me out of my shell in a way. I couldn't have done it without the girls that I had. Like, obviously there's been quite a turnover of players and staff since I've been here, but they've all been amazing in their own way. They've all been a part of this journey with me. Like Kit Graham for one, Has James, I'll never forget, I think it was the Leicester game, ironically, Leicester, half time, I'm sat there and I'm almost in a panic mode to her thinking, I don't feel like I can do it. Like, I didn't feel myself. I felt like I was struggling in the game. And she literally turned to me and she was like, you're Bethany England, you can do whatever you want. And literally went and scored the goal that won us the game. And even little things like that is how much my teammates believed in me. And like say, Kit and Amy Turner, they would go around saying, in Beth we trust, and it became like a running theme in the relegation battle. And I've never felt so much support in my life.
Tell me about your leadership group, because it wasn't just you within that.
No, I had the wonderful honour of having Molly Bartrip, Olga Atanen as my vice captains when I got announced as captain, and yeah, they were my left and right arm girl, people I could lean on, bounce ideas, thoughts of, I guess, social sex as well, helping me plan team events. And I know, obviously, it's been amazing this year to see Drew and Evelina step up in those roles as well. But I just want to give my sincere thanks to them, because without them as well, I wouldn't have been able to do the job I've done. And they have definitely helped put this football club in a much better position as well.
If you look at this journey that you've been on with the club, how much has changed for Spurs? How much has changed for you? Because it's almost unrecognisable from the club that you joined in that time.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Yeah, as I say, there's been quite a shift in terms of personnel, which I get happens. I think just the standards in terms of how much better we are on the pitch, off the pitch. I feel like I've grown with it. When I first came here, it felt like a club that didn't know that they could compete, to a club that's now constantly talking about, we can be in these conversations now. We're talked about as a top 5 club. Like, these are not conversations that were happening when I first came, and I think that's credit to everyone who's been involved, whether it was a small part or a big part to play, that they've put this club further forward than it's ever been. And I'm very proud to have been able to have helped lead a lot of that, but help push people and push myself along the way.
Can we talk about the road to the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
That was honestly the most fun, seeing you guys go on that journey. What was it like to be on that journey?
It was madness. It was absolutely madness. And you know what? There's nothing more I love than an underdog story. And yeah, you look at the Man City quarterfinals, thinking like, oh, it's going to be it was like our 4th time playing them, I think, wasn't it, that year? We'd drawn them in both cups at the same stage. They probably thought it was going to be a walk in the park, and yeah, we sure as hell took the game to them. The heroics of Becky Spencer. I know, like, I scored the goal, but again, Amy Turner's flick on. So many people played their part in stepping up to take their penalties, to make sure that they put the ball in the back of the net. Going into Leicester, again, it's one of them where you think, okay, we've beaten Man City. Leicester's like, you don't want to go in again being naive, because I've been in these situations so many times, and that was a game where you just weren't sure which way it was going to flip. Momentum was with them, then it was with us. Obviously they scored first. It was just a crazy game, and Martha's goal, just limbs. I felt like it was just limbs everywhere. I was like, oh, please don't want to go to another penalty shootout. But yeah, I was super proud of her when she got that. And then, yeah, obviously, I think I spoke to you at the end of the FA Cup final and how upset I was. But I mean, to put Tottenham women on the map that early on, being my first season, I guess, full season, and to go to a sellout crowd at Wembley for the Tottenham, and albeit obviously Man United fans, but Tottenham fans, and being proud to walk out, I think that is up there with one of the highlights of my life, without a doubt.
I remember so vividly after the game as well. I don't know if you remember this, but just the joy that Spurs fans wanted to share with you guys after the game. What was that like to know that there was this level of kind of just complete investment in you guys, that even though you lost the game, people were just so proud that you'd taken the club to that place?
Yeah, there was so much love, and I think again we were the underdogs going into the game, and I think I was probably so upset after it because I wanted to give the fans even more. Like, it's not just great to say that we got there, like I wanted us to really compete and show ourselves, and I'd say for the first 40 minutes we did that, but unfortunately, obviously, Man United did what they did, and the amount of fans that were just thanking us for giving them that day, and that's almost like, it makes you realise that football is bigger than just a 90-minute game. There's so much joy and happiness that it brought people. Obviously, we were sad at the time, but you still have to appreciate that against all odds, we got there. Yeah, I think I would love nothing more than to see the club back competing for trophies in finals like that, especially at a sellout Wembley. And yeah, the fans were just phenomenal, and I can't thank them enough for everything that they've done. You
mentioned there about football being more than the stuff that goes on the pitch. It feels like since you arrived at the club, you've gone over and above always to make sure that you help people that people can't see, that you make an effort to go the extra mile with almost any cause that you could think of that would help other people feel seen or help other people feel supported. Why has that been so important for you, and how have you maintained that throughout your time here?
I think firstly I'd probably want to thank my mum and dad, I think, for just instilling good values in me and my sisters. I've always been a caring person. I've always just wanted to help people, and I think even with the captaincy, it was never like a dictatorship to me. It was a democracy where everyone had a fair vote. Like, my voice isn't better than your voice or more important. Like, everyone is the same. We forget when we're in these industries that there's actual people behind the profile, and I think for me we're fortunate that yes, we've worked hard, yes, we've got the talent, yes, we get all these things, but I'm like, end of the day, we're still humans, and if we're in a position where we can help others, why would we not? And I feel like I have loved every single second and minute of working with the foundation. I asked them a while ago about going into care homes, they got it done. We're doing the cancer charities, got it done. They brought in All Dogs Matter, the dog home. That charity has my heart more than I think words can say. And I just think that if you're in a position to help, why not? And fortunately I have been in a position, and I've just always wanted to keep giving and giving.
Why is that important to you? Why did you sort of... It looks to me like it's something you're really natural with, but just hearing you now, it sounds like a really conscious decision to make sure that you do turn up for other people.
I just feel like if we're in a fortunate position, it doesn't take 2 seconds to wish someone good morning, have a good day. Just be mindful of what's going on in other people's lives, and even to the fans, like the way they'll wait for you, like they're giving up their time, their effort, their money. If I can't give you 30 seconds of my time, then I don't deserve to be in this job. And like I say, you don't want it to become an expectation, and not everyone's the same, but I just think if I can, I always will. And that's probably as black and white as I can be with that.
There is one Spurs supporter group that will be sitting here or sitting at home watching this video absolutely distraught, and that would be the Proud Lily Whites. I wondered if maybe you had a message for them, given that they absolutely have very much taken you to their hearts as well.
Yeah, oh God. Just, my message would be just keep being proud about being who you are. Don't let anyone's opinions change how you feel about yourself. I say all the time, you speak to yourself more than you speak to anyone else, so you wouldn't speak to someone else cruelly, so be kind to yourself. Because we are the way we are, we're proud to be where we are, and every time, say, I've walked out on that pitch, not only have I been proud to wear the shirt and the armband, but the LGBTQ plus armband, because I think visibility is key. There's a reason we have to fight for rights. I think it's just having that awareness that we are here, we're still human, and we're allowed to be exactly who we want to be.
Tell me about your teammates.
Oh, I love them.
Like you said, you've had like an amazing group from when you first started. Lots of people have come and gone.
Yep.
But how much of a part have they played in helping to shape who you are? Huge
Part. I think the biggest one for me was Drew Spence. Obviously coming in, played with her a long time at Chelsea. She really helped me settle here. Any questions I had or any help, she was amazing. I just think it's so funny how people you wouldn't think you would gravitate towards, you do, and how when you get to know a person, how much your perception of them can change. The girls they're such a phenomenal group. Like, they are just such good people, and I think it can be very difficult in a high-end sport to find people that just generally want the best for each other. And I've undoubtedly found friends for life. Like, I speak to them quite a lot. Even like my Ella Morris, she's just the most amazing human I could think of. I could literally sit here and name all of them and how they've all got phenomenal traits and how good of a human they are. But other than, I just want to say thank you to them, because the ones that have been before, come and gone, the ones that I'll sadly be leaving behind, I just think you've made me into, I'd say, a better person, but I'd say, I don't know, it's hard to say, like a great friend, but they've just made me feel a lot of love, and I will forever be thankful for that.
What place will Spurs occupy in your mind and, I guess, in your identity moving forward now as you look to the future?
I mean, I'll always be a fan of the club. I'll always be looking out for the club. I want to see my friends do well. They will have my full support. I'll be checking in on them, and yeah, I just can't say enough thank you to everyone, the fans, the staff, the players, all of you guys. There's so much work that goes into day-to-day things that I'm going to miss a lot of. I might not miss the M25 drive every day. I'll miss so much about this place. I knew the last few weeks were going to be hard, and I feel like I don't want to spend every day crying, but I probably will. But unfortunately, stories come to an end, and I'm proud of the way this one has gone.
Well, I mean, I guess from all of us, that we have had the most enormous amount of fun working with you. You have been an unbelievable colleague to work with, and an incredible leader and captain for us. So thank you for everything you've done for this football club and being so wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.